I am so excited so far in our progress in processing my first ever fleece, and today for day 3, we are going to get it ready for spinning. So if you've been following along, then you know that we looked at the Ryland fleece first. Last time we washed the fleece, this is one of the bits of it that I don't know if it's washed all the way yet, and we started picking through it to turn it into these fluffy clouds. I know from my comments that if I had done the picking or flicking portion of the fleece more properly, correctly, more thoroughly, or maybe with a little bit more experience or practice, then you can spin right from these clouds that you create. However, I don't think I kept things in line enough, and I don't think that I've done it thoroughly enough, and I don't think I'm an experienced enough spinner to handle too many inconsistencies. So I'm going to do one more step before I go to spinning, and I was between combing and carding, but I've decided to card it. From the little bit of research that I've done, the Ryland you can either comb or card, and I already had a set of combs that I was going to try and see if I could use for this step of the process. These are some, I believe, antique wool carders. I got them when I was out antiquing and thrifting, and I thought that they still were in pretty good condition. I'm trying to show you here the kind of stamp on the back to see if any of you can identify them, but they are quite rusted and the leather is not looking like it's in its best shape. So I decided to do an overnight soak in some vinegar to see if I could get most of the rust removed from the tines of these carders, because I'd rather not have the rust being processed into my fleece accidentally. Also, one of you mentioned in my last video that one of the things you need to make sure of is that you're up to date on your tetanus shots when you're processing fleeces, and I fully agree. I feel like I call a lot of the processing equipment, and I get antique ones, and I have some new to me processing equipment for flax, which you'll hopefully see very, very soon, that I like to call my tetanus testers. Basically, yeah, there's just a lot of rust involved in some of these old tools that are still in good enough condition, I think, to use, but maybe you should be careful when you're using them. I lifted the carders out after about an hour just to see how long it would take. It was kind of a balance and trade-off with getting the rust off versus maybe degrading the leather with soaking it in vinegar, and same with swelling the wood, but really very minimal rust had come off. So I waited overnight, and the next morning you can see the water is definitely a lot dirtier and the tines are nearly free of rust, which is kind of amazing. I was super happy with this. I did put some leather conditioner on this afterwards to help with the condition of the leather, I was hoping, but when I attempted to do a practice carding of some wool using these carders, what ended up happening is that the leather was just disintegrating and the tines were too bent out of shape, and so it was time for me to take a trip to my local yarn shop. My local yarn store had decorated for the holidays, and I thought it was such a good idea to make these paper chains out of the yarn bands of yarn. I mean, what a great idea. I'm saving that for next time. They had one set of hand carders in the fineness or TPI that I needed left, so of course I grabbed that before spending some time just looking at the rest of the exhibits that they have, which is like antique hand spinning equipment from around the world, which I thought was super cool, some weaving things. I mean, they have so much of everything in here. My local yarn shop is definitely my happy place, and I wish I could get some of this antique furniture that they have in there, which just looks so beautiful, doesn't it? Anyway, I love my yarn store, and I hope to be going to some knitting evenings here in the future. Anyway, back to processing this fleece. I thought it would be interesting to measure how much of this picked fleece I was going to try to card through to eventually spin. It's not easy. It has so much volume to it, so I measured it a few times. The first time was like a little under 100 grams, then it was 116 grams, and then it was, I think, something like 109 grams, as you'll see here in a second. So I think we can safely say that I had roughly about 100 grams of picked through fleece that I was going to attempt to card into rolags to get ready for spinning. Now again, this is a huge learning curve for me, so when I was doing the carding, I was following some techniques that I saw from videos that I watched. I was trying to learn from the instructions that came with my carders. Sorry, I'm trying to get Nutella's attention. I love watching her investigate things that are new to her. I hope that it builds her confidence and makes her feel a little bit more safe and secure around things that are new to her and see that they aren't scary, because she is sometimes a little bit nervous. So it's really nice to introduce her to new things. And of course, she loves these fleeces. She likes anything that smells like a farm or sheep. So yeah, this is my attempt at learning how to card. But I don't know if it's exactly the right technique, but I definitely spent a long time for the rest of the evening working on carding through all 100 grams of this fleece and just loving at how light and fluffy the rolags turned out to be. It definitely wasn't a quick process, but now I have a bunch of light and fluffy rolags that I cannot wait to start spinning into yarn. I am also starting to try to think about what I might make from this yarn. I don't know how fine or thick I'm going to spin it, but I feel like 100 grams is a good amount of yarn usually, especially if you're around fingering weight. That's just my guess. So that's what I'm starting to look at, seeing what I could maybe knit up from this. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I definitely know that at every step of this process, I have a lot to learn, but it's just been really fun diving in and doing my best and seeing what comes out of it, because you have to start somewhere in order to improve, right? So I just know that there's going to be bits that I get to improve, and I'm getting so much information from you all. I think that's the best part about all of this, is that even though I don't have a teacher that lives very close by, I have all of you with all the experience that can give me feedback on all the steps that I'm doing and ways that I can improve. And it's hard to say how much I appreciate that. So thank you so much, because I feel like when I take the time to tackle the other 2/3 of the rest of this fleece and then the other 3 fleeces that I have, I'll be so much better just because of everything that I've learned from you all. So thank you again. I think that wraps it up for day 3 of Craftmas. Next time we are going to start spinning these rolags, and I'm really excited because I have some beautiful wheels to show you all that I'm going to be working on. I got some help with them too, so thank you so much in advance. You'll probably see like a little bit of a guest in the next video as well. So I will see you very, very soon. If you want to watch something else cozy and crafty during that time, here's a video that might be recommended for you. And I'll see you the day after tomorrow. Bye!